Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome me in joining Vinay and Sandeep on stage for I hope I won't put you to sleep. So basically, I'll talk about how we are going to structure this talk. So what I'm going to do based on the feedback yesterday from the iPhone meetup is that a lot of people actually wanted to know more about the business-based evolution and what is it that we offer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give a business context and the evolution of mobile advertising through several years. And then my colleague Sandeep will come on stage and give a demo of how do you integrate our SDK and look at the various call to actions and how do you actually leverage our SDK to actually show advertisements and go into do a deep technical session on how do you use the SDK to actually show advertisements on your app and especially on the iPad, which is actually going to come out soon enough. So let's start off with that. So first 20 minutes I'll talk about that, and then 20 minutes we'll have a demo, we have a video, and then the last 10 minutes we can take question answers so we can make it interactive. So when you talk about mobile advertising, this is what people thought about 3 years back. Is that you have an advertisement and it actually goes around showing ads. And this is not actually a joke. When InMobi started out as Enforce in 2007, what happened was we went off and tried to enter the Indonesian markets. And one of our guys actually talked to a bunch of people and said, we are interested in mobile advertising, we want to talk to advertisers, we want to talk to publishers. And some of the people actually came up with something like this, and this is not exactly what we were targeting. So this was what the perception was 3 years ago. Slowly, as phones started being capable, we started actually moving on to SMS, which was again something that InMobi entered into. So this was the perception that whenever you get spam, typically what you have, a lot of people are irritated when they see different kinds of advertisement. Typically I've seen like credit card companies, they keep on telling you that this offer is on, that offer is on, and a lot of these advertisements, you are not subscribed to it, but you still get them. And we had some amount of control over that using do not call and certain registration services where you could opt out of such advertisements. But a drawback and the perception of this advertisement was very negative, and it kind of held back the mobile market a little bit. But the reality is slowly changing, especially if you see in the developed markets. There is what actually mobile advertisements look something like that, as you can see on the screen, Moco Space. You have advertisement that engage the users, the advertisement that targeted better, depending on your profile, depending on the site you are seeing. So it's actually much more engaging, much more interactive. It also gives the information with regard to, for example, if you go to an IPL website, mobile IPL website, typically you would see something like an advertisement from Reebok, which is actually trying to sell you jerseys. Now someone who's looking at a mobile site of IPL is very likely and in a segment where he can actually go ahead and buy that jersey. Right? I'll come to some of the case studies going forward. Another thing that has been happening over the years and what Google has done remarkably well is that you have moved towards performance advertising. For example, if you look at the evolution of advertising itself, you have moved from something like hoardings, right? If you have a hoarding up maybe on MG Road, right? Can you measure the impact of that hoarding? Can you actually say that, people saw this hoarding, that is why that branding has happened and they have come into my store to buy stuff from me. There's no way to measure that. There are ways people get around this by like asking them to fill forms and all, but it's very intrusive, right? And this is a quote, a very famous quote by John Wanamaker, who is supposed to be one of the supposed to be the father of modern advertising. And this is what he said, that half the money I spend on advertising is wasted. The problem is I don't know which half it is. And CPC ads, typically performance-based ads, actually get rid of this problem, because you show an ad and you know when the user clicks, there is an intent, a desire to engage with the ad, to know, a curiosity to know what's going on and learn more about that. So there is a direct measurable impact. And that is what Google and even Immobie and many other players in the advertising space have been trying to move towards that model, which is performance-based advertising, which kind to address this particular need. That is measurable impact of advertising on sales and revenue. I'll talk a little bit about Immobie so that you have a context when we actually do the demo. Immobie started as Encoach back in 2007, and when we started off, started as SMS-based marketing for 3 months. The founders tried out some different kinds of models, but the basic problem with SMS was targeting. You don't know, there's no control over whom to send to, and it's very intrusive. Like even if you do interest-based kind of advertising, still you have a problem with the user having to opt in. It requires some part of the users to actually opt in to receive certain advertisements. Some people have gone ahead and tried those models, but they have kind of miserably failed. So one of the things that happened with our founders is that they realized that this was not going to fly, and we moved towards mobile advertising. At that point, we didn't have the app world, so it started with the mobile web. And when we actually started expanding, we actually got funding from the well-known venture capitalists KPCB and Sharpala Ventures, which is run by Ram Sriram, who was one of the first investors in Google. When we started off again, we started off with a Mumbai office, and it was a very small setup. But again, what we realized was most of the technical talent is in Bangalore. So we had set up a technical team here, and now we have almost completely moved to Bangalore. But the other issue that we faced was most of the markets where we can actually make revenue are not just in the areas that we're currently strong in, that is Southeast Asia and South Africa, but they are in the different markets which are more developed, such as the US, the EU, and so on and so forth. So we started entering the market, and now we have offices in Singapore, San Francisco, London, Japan, and Bangalore. And these are some of the reach figures that we have. We are actually serving 10 billion ad requests per month as of now, and it's growing very fast. We actually launched the iPhone SDK very recently, and then the pickup has been like just exponential after that. Some of the questions we had was, who are the advertisers that are working with us, who are the global partners, and you can see some of the well-known names are actually working with us, and we have all of these people actually using our network, which is actually which is actually geographically spread out, use our platform to actually target different users. So we have been growing like really fast. Going in sync with the space. These are just our figures, and the reason I'm putting our figures is we are most familiar with them. But if you look at our competitors as well, like AdMob, Quattro, so on and so forth, you will see very similar story. The growth story has been tremendous for this market, and Immobie being part of this market has grown with the market. And some of the figures that you can see, like for example, we were at 420 million back in 2009, and now the figure is 10 million. So you can see the kind of, we have hit like the bottom of the exponential curve, and it's just going to go up as the app business kind of starts taking off. Publishers also have, and advertisers also result in sync as people get more and more convinced that this platform actually works. Going back a little bit, advertising is probably not the only way to support apps. There are other models, for example, the subscription-based model, and there is outright buying. If you look around you and if you look at yourself, we have so got used to free stuff that most of the models that are working majorly are done by advertising supported. It's just that the nature of the web, the way it evolved. And if as you move on, these are some of the reach figures that we have.